Hey guys, this is Ray. Welcome back. We're going to talk about what do you have to do to make 100 ads for a brand. Now, this is my first time doing it, but we recently did that for one of our brands. We did 100 ads in a short period of time. And they're the lessons that I learned and my team learned doing this. So just for some context, if you haven't seen me before, I've been introduced. So I am one of the partners at Right Hook Digital. We've been around for 7 years. We've worked with 352 brands. We've taken 23 brands to $1 million a month. And this brand is one of those brands that we just did that this past month. Some of the accounts you work on, whether that's your brand or a brand you're working with, they don't require that many ads. But some brands, you need that much volume. And if you've never done that before, it is a big undertaking. To do 100 ads in like 45 days is a lot of freaking work. So here are the things that I learned doing that with my team. Also, for some context, you can see the ad account right here, the screenshot, where in the last 30 days, 147 ads were launched. Now, there was 100 unique concepts, so the extra 47 were variations, and I'm gonna teach you and talk you through those on this learnings, for example. So the first learning is related to why I like to do something that's really against the counter norm and the counterculture. And that is, I don't like to go to an ads library. I don't like to go to Foreplay or to Atria, which is ad supplying tools, which we use Atria personally for our agency of 50 to plus people. And the reason why is because when you're trying to scale a brand very quickly, in this case, the brand we did $1 million with the last 3 days, is copying more of what people are already running isn't always the best choice. The reason why is because everything we do in e-commerce is about getting attention. And there's many ways to get attention. You can shout more than the other person. You can say we're better than the other person. Or my favorite is, can you do something different than the other person? And that is why my go-to isn't always just to copy other people's ads. Because while a lot of people do what they do wrong is they're like copying, it's all the competitors in the same space, just kind of copying each other. So what happens is, as a consumer, everyone looks and sounds the same. And that's the problem. That's why I like to go to organic sources first. So go to Reddit, look at the top viral, most trending posts. Boom, really great ad concepts right there. Go to the most trending viral stuff going off on TikTok, on Instagram. The Instagram Explore page is a freaking gold mine of ad concepts. Go there first, because if you go to ads library, it's gonna skew your thinking. So I like to go to those sources first, get the concept, maybe even do a rough draft, and then I can go to those other sources as well. And it's okay if you go to ads library. I'm not saying we don't, we do it all the freaking time. But man, like this brand, we had to do $1 million in 30 days. It's like we needed to do something radically different than what their competitors are doing. So if you just go and look at what competitors are doing, you're skewing yourself and you're gonna wanna copy what they do. Number two, and I actually got this from a friend of mine, is when we are trying to create new concepts, there are really good arguments to be made that you wanna take the things that you've learned successfully and then apply it to your new concepts. That is just logical and that is sound reasoning. But what we like to do and what I recommend doing is don't copy your winners, just copy the idea and the messaging, that's it. So for example, if it's a video, take the exact same script. You can even take the voiceover, but do completely new visuals, completely radically different visuals, so that when a person sees it, it's going to look and feel like it's a net new concept. It can be the same script, the same message, but it has to be completely different visuals. No visual can be the same throughout that entire video. Same thing with a static. No visual can be exactly the same in that static. Same copy, fine, but completely different visuals and graphics. Number three is, if you're trying to get the most and you're really trying to push yourself and scale, you want to make sure you're using different models and ethnicities. This is a really great lesson I learned years ago, where I could take the exact same product, put it on different model types, body shapes, and different ethnicities, and they would give me amazingly different performance. If you're normally advertising to like white women, use black women, use Asian women, like use different body types as well. A fit woman, a not fit woman, a mom, an older person, like a plus size model. Like use different types of people. And here's the reason why. Is I personally buy into something that was called audience pocket theory. Audience pocket theory on Meta, in their creative, they're showing like white women, for example. Meta's just gonna keep serving it more to white women. Why? Meta knows what's in the creative, it knows what's being said about the creative, it knows the context in the creative, it's that powerful. And it's just gonna keep serving more to white women who are white women or identify as white women. That is why you're gonna stay in this pocket. It's gonna be really hard to break through that unless you show different types of people. That's why go show a black woman. And it's what's gonna do is Meta's gonna see, oh, that's a black woman, I'm gonna serve it more to black women. And that is how you start to break out into different pockets on Meta. And that's why I'm such a fan of when I'm trying to scale up aggressively with a brand, like I've gotta do different models and ethnicities. Number 4, and shake up your scenes. For example, I think a lot of brands get stuck in the same rut where like maybe the same type of person, but also the same type of scenes. We've worked with a lot of supplement brands and beauty brands. Beauty brands are notorious for what happens. It's always a person in the bathroom in front of a mirror, and it's always in their house. Always those three things. For a supplement brand, what is it? It's always in the kitchen or in the living room or at the gym. Those are the three scenes you always find supplements, okay? The problem with it is everyone else is doing the exact same thing. And so what we'd like to do is when you're working with, if it's in-house, with our brand's in-house team, or if it's a content creator, that is why you want to brief them to specifically do different scenes. I want to change it up. Do it in the car. Go to Starbucks and do it at Starbucks. Do it in the store. Like, do it outside. Change up the scenes, because you can take the exact same ad, has the exact same script, the exact same person, but they do it in totally different scenes and they will have dramatically different performances. Number 5, run whitelisted accounts. There's many reasons why to run whitelisting accounts. I'm not going to go through all of them on this video. I've made other videos about this, but the reason why we did so well in the scaling is I like to have at a minimum 5 different whitelisted accounts. So whitelisting is where you take a piece of content and you're running it from someone else's Instagram page, or they make you a piece of content and you turn that into an ad, and now you control and you can spend money behind that and target whoever you want. Number 6, don't get too stuck in one type of creative. This goes back to my similar point about different models, different scenes, is you can't get stuck in the same type of creative. Is there is a reason why in the early days when you find initial success from an ad concept, take just a handful of those ads and you can make $1 million from it. But what happens is you spend a lot of money behind it, more and more people see it, and then you keep trying to recreate that same type of look, or because you have branding guidelines, you keep hitting that same look. And what happens is that's why you need more and more creative to keep the same marginal performance, and that's why you wake up to the point to where you've done 100 ads and like only a couple are winners. And I know that to be very true because literally a year or two ago, I was consulting with the brand with their in-house team, and I was working with their marketing team, teaching them how our systems. And in the beginning of that brand, in like 16 months, went up to do $14 million. And I saw them grow. And in the beginning, for most of that period, they only needed like 10 to 15 ads a month. They weren't making that much creative, but it was just working. And so their success rate was really high. It was like 30% of all their ads were just scaling. But what happened is over a long period of time, them spending so many millions of dollars, people started selling their products because you can get it off AliExpress, and they started slinging the exact same product. What happened was your hit rate kept going down. It was 30%, then 20%, then 10%, then 5%. They got to the point where they were making 100 ads and only one would scale. And the reason for that is because it was the same type of content, which leads into point number 7. If you've burned through 30 ads and you haven't found an ad that's a winner, it's not a creative volume problem. It's a you problem, or it's your product problem. It's the positioning of the product. It is going to be the angle or the concept is really bad, or it's going to be just the market sophistication, which is how often have people in that market seen that product and heard all the same claims before. Those are typically the problems. And going back to that example of that brand, so many people were selling that product, and also Temu was one of them. Temu was running ads. It was like a fifth the price. What happened was they had to maintain an insane amount of volume just to maintain their performance. And anytime you see that, it's an automatic indication more volume is not going to fix it. Even more positioning is not going to fix it. Typically, that's a product problem. You have to innovate on that product to make it look new and fresh again. But that is why, as a warning sign, if you're making 100 ads and you're at number 30, and so far none of them have scaled, look at positioning, angle, concept, and then look at the market sophistication, which I've made videos on what you have to do about that, which is typically launch a new mechanism. Number 8, going through 100 ads, and you're testing a bunch, and you start to see your marginal benefit from all this creative volume isn't getting you anywhere. Time to swing big. What do I mean by that? What I mean is do something radically different. I mean, completely out on left field, completely ignore branding guidelines, because if what you're doing is not working, only an idiot's gonna keep doing it. Do something radically different. And I mean, if that means putting on a chicken suit and going out interviewing people so it's so radical, do it, because you don't know, it may actually work. And I like this quote that I've heard from Tony Robbins: if you want a radically different result, do something radically different. It's that simple. That is just human nature. Number 9, copy hack. For goodness sake, the easiest way to write copy is just a copy hack. Copy hacking is where you take words from actual customers and their story or their event or their experience, and you literally use that in your ads. So don't put quotes around it because that ruins it. Just take it and copy hack it. For example, you can do a little turn of phrase, but I had a brand I was quite known for making millions of dollars from one ad. and I copy hacked the whole thing. I got these words from customers where they said, man, I feel like Gal Gadot in Wonder Woman wearing these boots. I took that idea, turned around, made an ad that said, pretty sure Wonder Woman wears these on her days off, literally made $7 million. I copy hacked it, took the initial idea, some of the initial copy, and I use it as copy for the ad and it crushed. So copy hack. Number 10, founder content is doing really well right now. There's many ways that I see it working really well. One is like founder behind the scenes of how I made this energy drink that changed my life. Really great piece of content. Well, typically the founder is it's a bunch of B-roll and it's just a voiceover from the founder. But also, founder-led content is a competitive advantage. No one can steal the way your founder looks and how they sound. They can mimic it, but they can't really steal it. So it can be a competitive advantage, especially if your founder's well-spoken, especially if they're funny or they have like a unique life. Use it. Number 11. This is getting more into the operational side. If you're trying to make 100 ads in 30 days or 45 days, I'm finding we need to make probably about 10 to 12 briefs a week, just so that of those 10 to 12, we're picking probably 8 that we like the best and discarding the rest. And when it comes to like the system, and I'll talk more about this in a second, is the first part to start that system is just the idea generation. Like you really need someone who's spending time just coming up with ad concepts, coming up with the briefs so that you and your team can sit down, look at the briefs, but you can also get the veto power of saying, I don't want these concepts. And so that's why I'm finding probably 10 briefs to start off is pretty good, so that you're making at least 7 to 8 net new concepts per week. And then that should help you get the 100 ads in the next 30 to 45 days. Number 12, I like to make 3 variations per ad concept. The reason why is I have proven to myself for more times than I could count, if you just make one ad concept and it doesn't work, you're kind of just throwing away all that work, because I have seen variation 3 or 4 go off to be the one that scales and the first initial concept didn't. And that's why, I don't know about you, I like to just save myself time in the future. Instead of just making new ads all the time, can I give just a little bit extra chances of success, which is different variations. So if it's a video, that's typically different hooks for us. If it's statics, that's typically different images or different copy in the static as well. Number 13, a huge lesson is just the copy itself can massively change the performance of an ad. And that is why you need to be a good copywriter. The foundation of being a marketer is all about copywriting. Yes, you can be a good speaker, but copy is transcendent across all marketing channels. It's transcendent against all marketing skills. And that is why it can make such a big difference. Like I've seen just literally changing the headline on a product page take a conversion rate from a page from 1.5% to 3.2%. I've literally seen just changing the copy in the hook of a video, make an ad that didn't scale to one that did. Copy is such a big deal. And that is why when you're looking at your ads, you're trying to make 100 ads in a short amount of time. Just the copy itself can be powerful. For example, I used to spend $200,000 a week running t-shirt ads for a print-on-demand company. And my system was very simple. And this is what taught me the power of copywriting. Every Monday, I would create new ads in 3 buckets. 1, new copy just for dynamic product ads, because that was some of their best ads. Bucket number 2 was videos. Bucket number 3 was statics. A big part of that was I would come up with new concepts, but each week I was writing 10 new concepts for just DPA ads. And that's just the headline. I was coming up with 10 new pieces of copy just for the videos, 10 new pieces of copy just for the statics. But that right there, just the copy alone, gave us such massive improvements that enabled me to spend $200,000 a week running print-on-demand products. Number 14, the system. So the system, what we like to do is sprints. Personally, my favorite is a 1-week sprint because I like the speed and the cycle of it. So the system works like this. Every Monday, when you start off your system, is you have to review the ads you tested from the previous week. Review those ads. You then have to have 10 new briefs ready to rock and roll. That's either by you or someone else on that Friday, the previous day. 10 new briefs ready to rock and roll. You and your team review those briefs. You choose what briefs you're going to make. And then you start working on the creatives to then launch by that Thursday or Friday, depending on how long it takes your designer to turn those around. And that includes variations. I've seen many different permutations of that system. My team, what we like to do is we like to come up with themes. So let's say if your sprint is a week, the theme for that week would be on a particular type of persona or a copy hack, for example. And so they come up with that theme based off what worked from the previous week. And a lot of the creatives are centered around that thing. But that's just like what we like to do because it helps just to focus by coming up with a theme focus, for example. But like it doesn't have to be rocket science. I have other teams that don't call it a sprint, but they just create a standard which is, hey, this week we must make 6 new concepts per each account that we're on. Okay, cool. And then half of those are statics, half are videos. Like, just come up with a way that you're in this cycle and you must do these things. I must review what's worked previously, must critically think why it's working, what can I learn from it? What do I think the account needs? And then what are my briefs? Like, if you just do those things and then you have to launch them by the end of that week, you are going to be freaking flying. So that is the learnings from doing 100 ads in a short period of time to get a brand to $1 million a month. If you like that, let me know in the comments. I love to watch you guys' comments. I answer all my comments. If you want to work with me, in the description as well, there's a way that you can schedule a call with me, as well as our mentorship group where we teach brands how to do these things.